Hey everyone, it's Dana. Happy Serenity Palooza! Whee! You are at Serenity Workshop layout number 2. That is what we're working on, and we're going to dive right in. We're going to start with the right page, and I'm going to walk you through what I changed, what I added, what I took away, the good, bad, and the ugly. So I'm going to move. Hang on, I'm going to create some space and then I'm going to move the left out just so we can focus on the right page, and I'm going to walk you through what I did. What's really fun, well, I guess first off, you're going to notice that in the instructions, you'll see Bluebell here and Bluebell mats, and I traded those out for toffee. I like it a lot better. The color to me brought out the gold, if you can see that. Now, these are going to be your layouts at the end of the day. So if you want to use Bluebell, by all means, go ahead and do that. You're not going to hurt my feelings at all. I'll show you the reason why. Here is the Bluebell. It's embossed. It's got the ink on it, just like the instructions will tell you. And this is what it looked like. And I'm going to pick it up closer so you can see why I changed it out. Can you see the difference in color? Sometimes on the dyed paper, our cardstock is dyed. It's dyed from front to back. So there can be some variation from dye lot to dye lot. And honestly, I don't think the variation this particular time is in the cardstock. I think it's in the printing. I think if you look at the instructions, what they show, these match really nicely. Does that make sense? They look like they match much closer. But I think when they print the paper, they can't always get it exactly the same as the cardstock, and or there's a little bit of variation in the dye lots. So for whatever reason, it doesn't happen often, but every once in a while it does. And for for someone like me who wants everything to match perfectly, I can't put those blues together because it'll make me crazy. So you get to choose. You can keep the Bluebell cardstock you started with and you cut, and or I had you cut the same pieces in toffee. Okay, so it's a 4x12, and there's a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 Bluebell, and I had you cut it in toffee for the bottom here. Now, the fun part is, you ready? This is one of the changes I made. Here, let me get this out of the way. One of the changes I made, look what we're gonna do. Bloop, bloop, bloop. How fun is that, you guys? This is the first time I've ever made, we've done cascades, we've done regular flip-flaps, but I've not done the zigzag. It almost looks, to me, it reminds me of a Z-fold. Now, you will not stick this on your paper. I did this just for the purpose of showing you. I put a couple glue dots underneath the strip. You're going to stick it to the outside of your page protector to add more photos. But what a fun example of how versatile flip-flaps really are. So that's one of the big changes, is that I substituted out toffee. I added some gold glitter photo mats. And again, I'll bring those up to camera so you can see. They're just beautiful. They add such pretty shine, and they really set off the stickers. So I knew I just wanted to, without adding any extra busyness, I wanted just a little bit of gold to tie in the rest of the gold, if that makes sense. Now, to the contrary, there's some stickers, and I'll just throw them out here so you can see, so you're not confused later, that I didn't use. I did not use these. So you can use them, by all means. You can use them. But I thought it had enough. I really did. You know, after a while, you kind of get to the point and you go, okay, like, it's good. And that's kind of how I felt. I was really happy with where we ended up on both pages. So, but I want you to have a screenshot of this so that you, when you get to those pieces, you go, okay, I'm not losing my mind. She just didn't use them. And feel free to stick them in if you want to use them, or use them on some of the other layouts too. You could use them on flip-flaps. You can use them anywhere your little heart desires, okay? But I wanted to show them to you so that you get a good shot of, you know, you're not losing it. Like, hey, these are in here. These are extra die cuts. What do I do with them? Just so you know, right? And this wreath, when I have pieces like that they put in, they actually put this on the left page, and I liked it better on the right. I just want you to see a little bit, right? I use a lot of foam tape. I pop everything up on the thin, and some of the pieces I put on the regular. But I want you to see that I saved that. I saved it just in case I found a place to use it later, if that makes sense, right? I don't waste it. I keep it because it really would be cute tucked in just about anywhere you wanted a little bit extra gold. So it's here if you want it, along with those other pieces. Use them as you want to. The big thing I wanted to show you also that I added is the skinny ribbon. Super, super easy. You probably have this in our stash. It's not new, but it's awesome. Love the little skinny ribbon. You can color it. You can leave it as is. And for this layout, we left it as is. The gems came with, I'm trying to look at and think of anything else that we missed. A couple of flip-flops, but we are good. Do you not just love this? I'm absolutely in love with this, right? And look at how it added photos so effortlessly. Now, if you look really close, you'll see that this embossing, and I'm going to walk you through that right now so that you can see. This is the first time that I've seen in a workshop that Close to My Heart is teaching it to us. But I thought, you know what, it'd be a good idea to have you see me do this so that you can see it in person, and then you can go try yours. Okay, so I'm going to bring my folder and supplies over here so you can watch me ink it up and run it. And then I have my machines plugged in by the wall, so I'm going to run it over there. You'll hear it get real loud, but at least you get to see how we're doing it. So they are using the new floral embossing folder. And it always has the Close to My Heart logo on one side of the two, and that's the top, okay? That is on this particular layout, that is the side that we're gonna ink up, okay? And then I've got my sandwich, right? So I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna show you the easy one first, and then we're gonna do the long one last. But I've got my toffee pieces, right? Run it through. In all honesty, I didn't see a whole lot of difference in light versus dark side. So you decide which one you want to do. I'm just going to get one ready. So your paper goes like normal. It just goes on the bottom. Okay, and then we're going to ink up the top. Regular ink this time, although you can use both the distress ink and or our pigment inks and dye inks. It doesn't seem that the pigment inks have a deeper saturation, remember, because they're pigment. But all we're going to do is take our ink pad and smear it on. Okay, we're not going to, push it into the crannies. We want it on the raised part of this page, which is actually going to fill in. As you can see, the ink is going to go in between the design. Now you can tap it. I'm sorry that shakes the camera. I know it does, but I think I get a little bit better coverage just by rubbing it on. So I'm going to rub it on, and honestly, you won't see that texture. Well, if you do see it, you won't see it enough to bother you. So now I've got my sandwich, and I'm going to run it through. Just take a second. Now this is the one time that you can usually, especially on my machine, I can run more than one piece at a time. But because we're not just embossing, we're transferring ink, I'm only going to run one at a time. So here's our piece. See how the ink, now this will smooth out, so don't worry about the color variance. And also remember, we're going to put photos on top of this. So you're not going to see the center, you're literally only going to see the edges. Okay, if your ink pad is dry, don't be afraid to take your re-inker and ink it up, because this technique actually uses quite a bit of ink. So don't be afraid to go back in there and squirt some ink on it. Toffee is one of my favorite colors. It's a neutral. This one and mink gray are my two favorites right now, and you use them a ton. So don't be afraid to grab the re-inker bottle, and your ink pad should last forever, if that makes sense, because you'll be able to re-ink and re-ink and re-ink. So don't be afraid to grab that. And again, we're going to do the same thing because we've got another one Right, we've got another one. Now remember that this is a dye ink, so it's going to dry really quickly. Another reason to re-ink it. Let me get my ink off of there. And we'll run this one through. This is the same process I want you to see. Sorry, I don't know how much you can hear over the embossing machine. So this is the same process that we used with this card a while back. Remember this? In fact, I think it's the same folder. The only other thing I did with this was tap some shimmer brushes on it. So I wanted you to see that we had already done this once before. So here we go. Here's our second one. And see that one came out a little better. Isn't that gorgeous? Seriously, it almost to me looks like leather. It starts to look like, it's just fun. It's just really, really fun. Okay, now this long piece, we've got a 4x12, I'm gonna tell you up front, it's gonna have a line. Okay, I'm gonna pull this, I'm gonna stick it through the slot, okay, and just get the design, get the piece kind of where I want it. And then I'm ready to ink it up just like we did before. You're gonna ink the top, and I can hold this, right? And rub it all over just like we did before, right? Just like we did before. I always want to put that on the right, I think because I'm right-handed. Now, I have to shove it through the machine this way. I have to put the heavy end in through first, otherwise this back end will get bent. For you guys, that have a hand crank, you'll be able to control it a little bit better than I can with the electric one. But I wanted you to just see it. It's because the process is no different, right? Now we've got our half, right? So you have to pull it out. Now, there will be a line, right? Just like I told you. And it's not because if this pattern was completely symmetrical, you could match it up and get rid of the line. But because this pattern is not symmetrical, you know, like stripes or squares or something like that, it really doesn't matter. You are going to have a line. So you're going to have to just get over it. If that makes sense. I had to tell myself that too. I'm like, all right, just get past it because there's nothing you can do about it. But in truth, it doesn't show up hardly at all. That surprised me because you're going to put photos on it. I'll bring that other side back and you can tell me if you can tell that it's there. You'll be surprised because I was like, oh, you don't even hardly see it. So rub it all over. Isn't this the funnest technique? I don't mean, sorry, funnest, but it really is. It's just so easy. And it's not something I honestly would have thought of doing. Okay, last piece. Close up my ink. Okay, here is our last one. And I'm going to pull this out. And see, we've got a line. Don't fret about it. I promise. Don't fret about it. Now, I'm going to take some... You can, honestly, if I wasn't videoing right now, what I've been doing is just running it up to the sink and running it under some water. Honestly, it's dye-based, so it all comes out pristine. You won't even be able to tell you had ink on it. But because I'm videoing, I'm just going to get the bulk of it off, and then I will run it upstairs when we're done. In fact, maybe I'll just keep it like this. I'll put this in there because this is wet. Sorry. Boop-de-blue. And fold it up and move it out of our way. Okay. Now, let's go back to, I want you to see where this goes. Now, it can go like this, or it can go like this. It doesn't matter because both sides, that line is hidden behind the photo mat. Okay, that's what I mean. So if I hadn't told you that it had a line, I'm going to turn it sideways so you can see more of it. Can you see a line in there? Like you really, truly can't. I'm not even joking. So don't worry that this has a line, truly, because you're going to hide it under the photo mat. So you won't even be able to tell that it's there. Okay, and then these are these. Okay, you're going to cut two more, right? I'm showing you these two because I'm going to show you how to put this together. But you're going to have one here and one on the left page that you're going to do the same thing with. I think you do a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 of the rectangle photo mats, and then one 4x12. You're going to ink and emboss. So when you do it, my 2 cents is run them all together. Not together, but consecutively. Run, right? Ink and run, and ink and run, and ink and run until you're done with it. And then you can wash your hands. And I'm going to wipe off my hands because you almost always get a little ink on it. And then I'm going to smear it on my white, right? Because if this layout wasn't white, I wouldn't care. But I know that that will bother me, as it will bother some of you if you get, if you make an inky mess. So here's our 2 photo mats, and we're going to make this. All right. So let me find my white. Actually, let me wipe my hands off a little bit so that I don't get, and I'm going to wipe my hands off and find my white photo mats. Just make sure my fingers, because I get it all over. Well, I don't see anything coming off, so that's good. Okay. Here's my white photos and some adhesive. These are super easy because they've got texture. You're going to want to give at least one more line of adhesive, if that makes sense, because, right, they've got a little texture and you want to make sure that it gets stuck down properly. So make sure you're pushing on it, make sure it gets really well stuck. And then, surprise, we're going to do another one. 1, 2, Z. And we're going to flip it over and we're going to put one on the back side, right? Why not? Why not make use of, now remember, you don't have to do these whites if you don't want to, because these are representative of photos. Now, I will tell you this, if your photos are busy, right, which sometimes, actually a lot of times our photos are busy, you might want to use the white mat because it'll highlight your photo. Right? It'll give some clearance between the busyness of your photo and the layout itself. So you might want to just crop your picture to be 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch smaller than the white and use the white. That's up to you. It's totally up to you. You decide whether you want to use it or not. So now we've got 2 double-sided photo mats. We are going to grab our 4x6 flip flaps, and we want 2 that are horizontal. So we want the adhesive on the side. 1, 2. Now, the nice part about this is that you can put them in and take them out and get it the way you want it. Like if you wanted this zigzag to open the other way, you can do that. You can absolutely do that. Just don't tie the bow on until the end. So that's what we're going to do. That way you can decide, how you want it to open. Do you want it to pull this way? This one kind of pulls this, right? It kind of opens up. I wanted it to open like a book and then out. But you can absolutely do it the other way. It's totally up to you. Okay? So I'm going to put a paper in there just so I can see it because it's a little easier to line up that way. Okay, so this is going to be my down on the paper. Pretend that this is our layout. And now I'm going to fold this one down. Remember, it always folds over the opening. So I'm going to fold it down and I'm going to turn it horizontal just because it's easier for me to line it up that way. I'm going to pull off the adhesive. Sorry, I'm going to have to pull it down to the bottom. It may not be on camera, but you'll get the idea of what I'm doing. All I'm going to do is line up this top adhesive edge to this edge over here. Okay, if it's easier for you to put the paper in it, then by all means, put the paper in it. Yeah, I might have to stick my head in the camera for a minute because it's really hard to do this when you're standing up tall. Okay, so I think I've got it in there straight. The only idea is you don't want it crooked, right? Because it'll go off to one side. So you want to make sure that you're getting it in there straight. Okay, so now this is the way it would go on if you want to copy what I did. Open like a book. But you can have it go like this. Let me hold the bottom. So then it would open like this. It's truly up to you. It really, really is. And if you really want it to be different, you can do it horizontally too. Again, there is room. You could do it that way. So we've got our ribbon. You can do the bow in one of two ways. Actually, you're going to see the back of this, so you can't. Disregard what I just said. You have to tie the whole thing. I was going to tell you that you could just put it on. Now, I'm going to be wasteful. So forgive me, but I have a hard time tying bows anymore where the ribbon's really, really tiny, if that makes sense, right? I have a hard time getting it around my fat fingers. So I am going to be wasteful. I want the bow on the left side, right? And it's just hard for me to get it around two fingers like I've always done. Seems like once you learn how to tie that way, it's really hard, isn't it? To tie any other way. But okay, we're gonna cut the ends. We've got our little bow and our double-sided mat, and this will go in our flip flap. And then remember, this will go on the outside of your page protector. But isn't that the coolest idea, you guys? I'm so super excited about it. That and the gold match just totally made this left page for me, or forgive me, the right page for me. I was super, super excited about that. Okay, now you learned how to emboss with ink and embossing folder. You did a Z-fold flip flap, right? Which added 4 more photos onto our page. Now let me move the right page out of the way, and let's pull over our left, and let's get started on that one. Okay, now this page has a lot of layers, right? A lot of layers. And you do have a page to follow, and you also have my page to follow, pictures of it in the album for the Palooza. So you can go up there and print this out and have it really close to you so that you can copy if you'd like to do what I did. But you also have a picture of instructions and written instructions here in the workshop. I'm not going to change this horribly, but I am going to make some changes, okay? Again, I like this tag over here. It's subtle. It's little stuff, you guys. I put foam tape on everything. I added a little bit of ribbon just to tie in the ribbon from the other page, right? I added another little piece that I had you cut in the glitter paper, again, just as an accent. And then up here, we embossed our tan. It's not blue, but it's tan. And then I made a 4x4 gold glitter with a white mat, again, as a photo, representative of a photo. And what we're going to do is make a pocket to put that photo in behind it. So here's how you do that. Get this somewhat where you want it and how you want it. So do I want, you kind of have to have an idea of where you want this envelope. You've made your envelope, you've foam taped everything, and then just plop it on the page so you can play with it. So I think I want this a little bit crooked, right? I want it a little bit angled. I know I want it to be about, I think the bottom corner I want to be about 2 inches from the bottom, approximately. I'm not a measurer, I'm an eyeballer. So those of you that need it to be, by all means, measure away, okay? I want it to be enough room that I have room for flowers on both sides. And then I'm going to hold the bottom of this down. I want this just a little bit, well, I want it to show most of the photo, but I do want it to show that it's sitting in the envelope. And then this one, I want this one a little bit angled, and I want it sitting out. So you get it where you want it, and then literally you pick it up together. Okay, now I'm going to move this. I'm going to slide this over because here's our photo and our second photo. And what we're going to do is create the pocket. So you flip it over and then you take your regular foam tape, the thin, the skinny, but regular thickness. Regular thickness, forgive me. Let me get the plastic off of it. And we've got, now all you're going to do is take the regular thickness of foam tape and you're going to trace this. Isn't that like the coolest thing? You're just going to trace it. And you're going to take a piece over here. And this will guide it in, right? And then you just need, you don't even need a full length piece. You just need some. And you're going to put this right at the bottom. Now, because we're doing, we're actually going to glue this photo down, we need to add some more foam tape to the rest. And for this, I'm just going to use the same height, right? Regular foam tape. And I'm just going to, so that the rest of it is even. I don't like it to be bumpy. So I'm just going to kind of go around a little bit here. I don't think we need it on that side, but I'm going to kind of hit that corner. Now, if we did it right, when you flip it back over, this is seated. Does that make sense? Isn't that the coolest idea? Okay, so you can make pockets on anything, really, but photos are kind of cool like that. It was a neat idea for that envelope. So we're going to set that aside. Again, this is one of your embossed mats, and then we made a gold 4x4 mat to be in the pocket. So now, okay, now we're going to glue this journaling card down as well. Okay, we're going to glue that down a little bit, but I'm going to set it just up out of the way for the moment. And what we need to do is kind of move our pieces to the side so we can glue our envelope down first. All right, so that's what we're going to do. What I tend to do when I scrapbook like this is pull all the pieces and layer them and foam tape them up, get them where I want them, and then just pull them out kind of together. Sometimes I take a picture with my phone so that I have some idea and can remember. And if there's little details like this that help me get it in the right place, I stick those down. Does that make sense? Like I stick the little embellishments and the little golds down because it'll help me get it in the right place. Now, it's just about even on the from right to left, and I know that this is about 1.5 inches to 2 inches from the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to start there, and I'm going to pull this. Actually, the little things I know I want to cover the ribbon. So I've got foam tape on it, and I know that's where I want it to go. Okay, and I want the enjoy above it, but not covering the bottom of it. In the picture that Close to My Heart gave us, they covered the J and the Y, and I don't really care for that. But again, these are things that you can do on your own. You can make it how you want it. Don't think that you have to do exactly what I did. It's really okay. Now, we've got our envelope here. I've tied my ribbon on already as well. If you haven't Palooza with me and this is new for you, please forgive me. I do some of it ahead because I figure that you don't want to see me putting adhesive on everything, right? Like you don't need, I think I'm going to use thin. You don't need to see me doing all of the putting adhesive on. It's like watching the glue dry, right? So I do as much as I kind of can ahead, and then I show you the things that either I changed or added or what have you, so that you can do it. The beauty of being at these Paloozas is that you can stop and put it on, pause it and go back and stick it together and catch up, and then unpause and do it again. So here's our envelope that we made. We folded. We've got some foam tape on it. We're doing it, you guys. We're putting it down. Okay, let's see if I can see how that's so long. We may have to cut that piece to get this in the right. So what did I say? 2 inches, almost centered left to right with a little bit more room on the left there. I think that's somewhat close. Okay, ta-da! I'm a little nervous if I got that in the right spot, but I think it's close. I think it's close. Okay, now we've got our photo. That needs to go down next. So we're gonna put that one in. Right? I love that the workshops get me out of my standard mode. They really, really do. They get me scrapbooking in a little bit different fashion, and I really like that. Really, really. Okay, now, I think I kind of had this like a little covered. There, I think that's good. Done. Right? Like you pulled it out of the envelope. And then here is our photo mat. Let's see how it looks. Oh, I like it. Look, I like it. Isn't that a nice, it's a nice little tilty shape. So you can pull this out. Now, you'll be able to pull this out from the top of the page protector. Does that make sense? You'll be able to pull that out from the top. So, yay. Now, this one, actually, yeah, I really want it to be over here. So I think I'm going to have to cut some of it to just make it fit, because there you go. I really just want it to be sticking out. All right, get under there. Kind of like you've pulled it all out of the envelope at the same time. And this is where we are. So let me bring it up closer so you can see it. Okay, so you get a good look at the top. Now we've got this much in the center down. So let's work on the left side, and then we'll work on the right. So let's get all the pieces kind of down. Now this one was kind of down to the right. And I think this one was up here. And I just want to play with it just a little bit. This one I think I want that darker side out because I like that darker side. So I think I kind of want that one out, and I know this one goes here, right? And then I've got this little one here. Okay, I think we're doing pretty well. Okay, pull. Again, yours doesn't have to look exactly. There's no right or wrong, you guys, truly. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Everything I already just foam taped, and that's why I'm able to do this a little bit faster. Okay, let's get the main flower down because I think that's a big one. Okay. And I think, yeah, I think that looks good. And then we've got this precious little gold and white one. And we're going to put him kind of right on top there. I want him to have some depth. And then we've got our big blue leaf. Yeah, give that some balance. Now, again, remember you have all those extras. And if you want to add more, by all means, add more. Okay? You absolutely can, for sure. I like it. I think that it's a nice balance of gold and blue. So, okay, let's do the same for the, this is what I do, so you can see. I take a picture of it when I've got it laid out, and then I print it so that when I go to video, I can remember exactly what I do, because there's a lot of layering for these. So let me pull these off and kind of get them. These go on the bottom. Now here's that really long one. And I think it actually stuck underneath where we've already got the adhesive down. So guess what? I am pulling the adhesive off, and we are doing it. I think I might have to have, nope, it's going to stick down nicely. Okay, good. And let's see, I think, let's lace some of this out just a little bit, because And I think I'm gonna have to, I might have to cut some of this, honestly, because there's so many layers here. And this big giant flower goes kind of right on top of that envelope. Again, we've got a gold one that goes in there, but then I've also got this blue one. Now, I do want that to be covered. So how did I have that? I think I had it a little more crooked. All right, let's see if I need to do this out here a little more, I think. And then I've got this, don't forget. Maybe that's a good spot. Look at that. That's a good spot for that. See what happens? You kind of play with it and it falls into place. Even if you make a mistake, it's kind of the nice thing about this type of scrapbooking, the layering thing, is that you can, right? You can change it. It can be a little bit different each time you lay it out, and you might like it better. Truly, you might actually like it better. And don't be afraid to cut the end off like I'm going to do right now, because it'll work just fine. And this, I just used, again, foam tape to stick it together. And that is going to cover that little spot beautifully. And then we've got our long ones. Oh, I've got this one too. Okay. Let's put this down way down here at the bottom. And then I've got this. I wonder if this would look better. Another longer piece. And then maybe one more shorter one. Maybe I'll make him short and we'll do it. I think that's the answer. Okay. One more here. And I love the color variation. And then we've got this one, which I think will be really pretty. Oh, there. And now we've got our big flower. Okay. Want to make sure that I have enough. I think I'll be fine. Oh my gosh, you guys, so pretty. All right, now here's the shake test. Let's see if we forgot anything. Oh, we forgot the white flower. See, there are times when that really comes in handy. Okay, there, that goes on the blue because I just want it to touch off on the blue. Okay, I think we have done it. Let me get the other page back so you can see them again, once again together. The beauty is take your time. You'll see the little places I added gems, little bluebell gems. And for that, and little gold hearts are the stickers. I just followed what Close to My Heart did. I'm not a great gem placer. If you have better, and the only other thing I thought is sometimes you might want to, you can replace some of those flower centers if you wanted to, right? By all means, use your pokey tool, pick it up, and then you have complete control over wherever you want to put it. So it might be kind of nice in the center of those gold flowers, just because they don't really have a center, right? That's like a really easy choice. And it adds a little bit of color, right? Adds a little bit of dimension. I absolutely love it. So I look forward to seeing you for project number 3. Bye.